Hi guys, I want to do a watercolour background silhouette type card today. So I've got a few supplies on my desk that you can see here, and all the supplies in that I use will be listed below. But we're going to do some watercolouring with some of our inks. I want to show you guys how to use our Stampin' inks or your watercolour inks to make a background. I've got some Versamark and some Archival ink here, which is going to be for our sentiments and for our stamping. The two stamp sets I'm going to use today, one is Halloween Scares. So this is basically, with the exception of this little speech bubble, it's basically a silhouette stamp set. So it's got a cool little house and a tree and bats and cats and things like that. Very scary. And then from Spooky Fun, I'm going to use one of the sentiments, but I haven't decided which one I'm going to use, so I'll let you know later on. But the first part of this is going to be the watercolour bit. So I've got some watercolour paper here. This is the Tim Holtz paper. We do have some of our own in our catalogue. And there is a textured side and a smooth side. I'm going to use the smooth side. I have a piece of basic black that I've actually just used. You could easily draw this and cut it out yourself, but I basically wanted like this sort of shape, and you'll see why in a bit. I've got like an embossing buddy type thing. Can never remember the name of that thing. Some white embossing powder, some water, some paint brushes. I've got two here. I've got a number 8. I think this is a round, I'm not sure. And a 1/2 inch, I guess, square one. You'll see what I'm going to do with that as well. And then the paper in the background here is our Halloween Night Specialty Designer Series paper pack. I haven't decided which piece which one I'm going to use as a layer, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of winging this card just to see what happens. So I have got some twine and things, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use them yet. So let's get on with it. I'm not sure if I'm going to speed this bit up, but I'll talk through this part initially anyway. So let me get all of this out of the way. Right, you're going to need your paint brushes. You're going to need the 3 colours. Oh, and the colours that I'm using, just get that out of the way. The colours that I'm using are Pumpkin Pie, Rich Razzleberry, and Real Red. And these are water-based colours. Ink pads, that's what I'm trying to say. So let me just grab, if I can. Just got a heat mat here, heat-proof mat. Just going to lay that on top here. This is just so that, because we're working with water, it's just so that I've got something to work against. Instead of it, if this gets a bit damp, then it's not going to affect the piece in the background. And this will let me get to it. I'm just going to tape this piece down. I am going to cut this down, so it doesn't really matter if I don't get it taped perfectly. Just doing it sort of on the edge. It's basically just to hold it down. It shouldn't affect anything else anyway. So let's see. It'll also just help you when the water hits it. It'll just help it from moving and warping and that sort of thing. So, I'm not saying it'll work, but you know. Right, so I've got the smooth side, got a pot of water, and I'm just going to start with one of the brushes. I don't know which one I'm going to use, so I'm just starting with oh, before I do that, get your ink pad, decide which order you want your ink to go in. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the bottom up. So for me, I'm going to have Pumpkin Pie, then I'm going to have the Real Red, and then I'm going to have the Rich Razzleberry on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my pumpkin pie, and what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze it. Nothing major, don't break your pads, but what it will do, oh it hasn't done it yet, squeeze a bit harder, is you want, by squeezing it you'll get some of the ink on the lid, and that's what you want. So I'm going to do the same here, some ink going, and it doesn't look like a lot, but there's tons of colour there, believe me. Just get out of the way, it's a bit noisy. So I don't know if you can, oh you can just see them. I've just got them laying out here in the order that I'm going to use them. So first thing I'm going to take is my brush just with some water on it, and I'm just going to coat the paper with water. I know this seems like maybe a little wacky, but you'll see what will happen, and it's such a cool technique. So I'm hoping it will work. I've never done this before, but I've seen it done so many times and it does look really neat. But I think what you're doing is you're opening up the fibres of the paper, so that's why you wet it first. And then I'm going to take some water to my first palette, and I'm just going to start dropping it in. So do you see what the water's doing to the ink? It just kind of moves it around and it kind of splays, if that makes any sense. Right, so now I'm going to go into the next colour. I'm going to do the same thing. My cat's trying to get in. Again, you just, I hear you. Yeah, we can all hear you. Yeah. Yes, I talk to my animals. Yeah. Want a bit more red, so I'm just going to keep going here. And you all hear her. A good old chat there she is. Right, third colour. Rich Razzleberry. Oh, this is going to be so cool. So do you see how the colours are just kind of moving around? I want this darker here. I'm going to lift this a little and just kind of let it move down, because what we also want is, this is a Halloween card, right? So you want it to be kind of Halloweeny. So I may end up using this the other way around actually. I was thinking I was going to use it this way, but and I have got a bit of colour down here that I didn't want. I'm just using a paper towel and it just kind of sucks up that colour a little bit. So it wasn't completely how it was going to go, but if I now, you see how I was going to have the darker bit at the top, and I may still add a bit of black around the edges or something, but you see if I turn that around I've got a different kind of scene going on. So I may actually use this way around. I'm not sure. I might do. Might use it the opposite way to what I was thinking, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I think what I want to do though, I don't want too much water. But I do want some more rich Razzleberry on the top here. So I've taken most of the water off my brush and onto and just sort of swiping it down just so I get more of the colour at the top here. I might have to do something about the colour bit. And again, I want some more of this yellow down here. I lost some of my yellow, you see. That's okay, that happens. Yes, I can still hear you, cat. I'm a right whinge. That's better, I'm happy with that. Now it is doing a lot of warping and all that, so what I'm going to do now is I will dry it off with my heat tool because I'm impatient, and I'll be back. Now you don't need to, although I'm just going to show you, you don't need to dry what's in your little inkwell here. You can just close it, and because you store them that way it will just dry in there and then that's ready for next time. If you wanted to, you could. Depends how much liquid's actually in there, and in fact on this one I'll end up splattering a bit of the water, so I'll just get rid of that. And then I would just leave them lying flat so that you don't you know, risk them sort of moving around a bit. Right, so let's get my heat tool. And yeah, just go from there. So I'll be back in a minute. I'll see how far I get tonight with this and how dry I can get it, but this is just a good way to use your watercolour inks, your paints, your whatever you're using as a water-based thing. You can use gelatos, you can use water-soluble pastels, you can do all sorts of things. Those maybe you need to sort of use on a palette as such, and then put your, you know, sort of, it's like a crayon kind of thing, and then rub it off on the side and then add your water to that to create your ink. But if you're using ink pads, water-based ink pads, you can use your distress ink pads if you've got those. Those are great too. Just use a good quality watercolour paper. We sell it. This is a Tim Holtz one. I've loved that. My cat is still trying to get. Can you hear that? Yeah? Oh. Okay. I'm not sure if you can hear that. That is my cat. Right, I'm going to dry it off with my heat tool, and I'll be back for the next bit and I'll show you how we're going to finish this card off. Right, so now that this piece is dry, I've trimmed it down so that it's 5 1/4 by 4, and I've just thought of something. So it's 5 1/4 by 4, and I've just trimmed it round. After I dried it, it does warp the paper. It will go all buckly and that. If that really bothers you, then you might want to dry it off completely and then leave a stack of books on it overnight and then come back to it the next day. But I just kind of curled the opposite way to the way it was curling, if that makes sense. So if it was curling up, I'd curl it back until I got it somewhat flat. So it's still kind of warped, but it's alright. I'm going to go with the original plan. Now, do you remember in the first bit I said I might turn it around and use it that way? I still like the idea of having a darker bit at the top and the lighter bit at the bottom. Well, not lighter, but you know what I mean. This piece that I cut earlier, like I say, you could use this as just a, you could just draw that and cut it out. I actually had an oval die that I used just to, and I laid it on the edge of the piece of cardstock. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up, see this sort of corner bit here. I'm going to line that up with the corner of the page here, and on this side too. And I'm not worried, oh, I don't have a pencil, hold on. I'm not worried if it doesn't, you know, if it's not perfectly straight or even, because this is a Halloween card after all. And we're just going to use a pencil. Ooh, I'm just going to lightly draw a line. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's a slight line there. So we are going to use this, but not just yet, right? So on here, I'm now going to take my Archival ink, and I'm going to decide, I'm also going to use, am I? Yeah. I think I'm also going to use my Stamp-a-ma-jig. Again, we have one in the catalogue, but this is the one I have. And I think I want my tree. What do I want my tree? What do I want? Definitely want the house. So let's get a block for the house. And these are our very cool stamping blocks. So I've got block, memory house, sorry. And I'm definitely going to need some bats. Yep. Gotta have bats. Oh, some little bats, and maybe the kitty and the fence. Oh, it's all going now. This is the neat thing. You can create all these neat things. Oh, you won't fit on that one. Just out of your stamp sets. Got those guys. And we'll have to have the moon as well. So stick the moon on that side. Right. Let's see how we go with this. And this is Halloween scares, by the way. So let's start. I think I'm going to start with the house. Where do I want him? Okay, so I'll grab my Archival ink. Now with this stamping tool, with a Stamp-a-ma-jig, you have this piece of plasticky stuff. You've got this sort of T-ruler thing. It's not a T-ruler, but you have to butt that up into the corner of the actual thingy bob. Then what you're going to do first, you're going to ink your stamp with that butted up into the corner. You're going to slide that in and just stamp it down. Doesn't have to be perfect because this is not your main thing. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the sheet that you've made, you're going to line it up where you want it. And again, I'm not worried if this is straight or not. It's just so that I can see where I'm going. So I've lined my image up where I want it on the piece of cardstock. I've then put this back up against the corner, so this is now butt up against that. I'll take that away, holding that, re-ink my stamp, and then put it into the corner and again stamp it down. And there you have your stamp lined up where you want it. Now this is, like I say, watercolour cardstock. This side was the textured, this is the smooth side, but it still gave that sort of not quite perfect look, so I'm okay with that. There is another tool out in the market that you can use where you can sort of re-stamp it straight back in the same place, but I haven't got that, so I'm not going to sort of go, you know, talk about that right now. So let's see what's next. A little fence. Yeah, let's do the fence. So I'm going to do the same thing. Let's see if I can get this off. You'll need to use a proper cleaner to get this off here, but I'll just, for argument's sake, I'll just use it as it is for now. So I'm going to ink up my, what's this called, stamp. Same thing again, I've got that in there, got my little template. I'm going to line this up where I want him. Make sure your stamp's the right way up. That's better. Don't want it all the way down, I'm not sure. I'm going to line him up as well. Defense. Ooh. Let's see, I think that's probably going to get covered anyway, that part. That's right, let's just do another one. Over here. Like I say, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. The reason I did what I've just done is so that my cardstock doesn't move. Because you don't want that. Right, so I think I'm done with my Stamp-a-ma-jig. This guy's going to fit on here, but I don't want to stick him on there just yet. And you see how it's going to hide some of that, you know, not so lined up stuff. Right. There's the start of that. And I want my little kitty cat, and I think I'm just going to eyeball this. Just have him on a fence. How funny. Oh, let's have the bat first, I think. Not the bat, the moon. Kind of a wonky moon, but that's the neat thing. So I don't want my moon. Oh, I ended up doing that anyway. And some bats. Gotta have bats. And it's Halloween. Halloween. And when I'm doing this, I'm also turning the stamp so that it gives it just a different angle. Right, so that's all this sort of archival black ink thingy. I'm just going to clean up. So now I'm going to work on my sentiment. So I'm going to take some of this embossing buddy doobry. And we're just going to rub it over the whole piece of cardstock. Just need to know, it's roughly that line there. Right. Like I say, I'm going to use one of these stamps from Spooky Fun. I think I might just have, can't decide which one I want. Should I just have Happy Halloween? Have some Spooky Fun. Happy Halloween. Oh, come back. Okay, so I'm just going to take this guy off. And stick him on a block. Hope that that is somewhat straight. I'll do it again. Sorry about my head. Take some Versamark ink. And I'm going to really ink up this stamp. My ink pad's a little dry, so hopefully this will go on here. Sorry guys, just need to see what I'm doing. Right, I'm going to take my embossing powder. I've just got some white embossing powder here. You know me, I've got my little trusty little container. There's the before. Get this out the way. Right, so I'm just going to heat set that. Clear that off. Sort that out in a minute. Right, so this is dry enough. So then I'm going to just stick that to the base of the card. Pull this piece in there. There's some adhesive. Sorry. Let's do it this way. Can you see that? Oh yeah, that's right. Right, so the back, I'm actually going to trim this bit off because I don't actually want that piece. So, let's see if these guys will work. And there you've got the front of your card. So, right, so I've got the base piece, the front of my card. You said that this is the main focus of your card. I've got a piece of basic black that measures 11 by 4 1/4, and I've just folded in half at 5 1/2. And I'm going to use some foam adhesive, I think, to stick that. You could easily stick it flat. And I would put a lot of adhesive on the back just because of the possible warping that you might have because of the all the water and that. My cat's still going. So I'm just going to get some. I'm just going to use this. Just see. This is just double-sided foam tape. You could use any that you've got. You could use your dimensionals. It would take a lot of dimensionals, so getting some foam tape is quite a good idea. The other option with this is to use you know the fun foam that you get where you get it in multiples of colours and things, and you can get, I think I bought a massive wad of it for like £5 or something from Hobbycraft years ago, and yes, I know I'm using a lot here, but I want it to stick. And what you could do is you could cut a piece that's smaller than the front of your card and stick it to that, and that way it will just keep it stable, in case you're worried, you know, especially if you've got lots of like this is basically one layer, but if you've got lots of different layers and different embellishments and things on there, you might want to protect it from getting squished in the middle. So like if I only had this around the outside, the middle might get smushed, especially if you're sending it by post or, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, I can't get this off. So, that's another idea for you. I can hear my cat still. She's very vocal. I'm guessing she wants to go out, but it is raining outside, so I'm sure she really wants to sleep there tonight. Right, so I'm just going to line this up. Somewhat straight, she says. Straight enough, she says. A little trick for smushing. And there you have it. Ah, one more thing that I was going to do. If I can find it quick enough, I will show you. And I can't find it right now. Where have I put that? There you go. We're going to do a bit of Winkostella. This is just a like a glimmer pen. We have the clear and the gold in our main catalogue, but basically it's just give it a good shake. It's a gives a lovely shimmery look to your cards. Although this isn't coming out the way I want it to. Come on, where's the sparkle? Gotta have a bit of sparkle. Oh, there it is. Yay! It's sort of working. I don't often use it, you see, which is not very good. I should use it quite a lot. And this is the black one, but we do have the clear. If you've got the clear, you can use that on anything. So, do you see? I don't know if it'll pick that up, but hopefully you can see the shimmeriness on there. I think I'm just going to leave it on the moon. That's apt. Yes, I made a bit of a boo-boo there, but yeah, it's alright. So, there you go, guys. One first Halloween card of the season. Actually, is it my first Halloween card? Why did I do another one? I can't remember. This is the first one from our new holiday catalogue, put it that way. So, yeah, happy Halloween, guys. Roll on autumn.